We are live. Check us out. Okay. I have no expectations that anyone's going to be here, but I want to at least get something started with going live to try to reach out to you guys and in hopes that we get an audience for a place where people can come, ask questions. If you guys want to get to know me, awesome. I'm happy to be open and to share my experience with you and my journey so far with transitioning from female to male. If you're completely new and you somehow stumble upon this live video, I'm just here to share that my name is Garen. I have been transitioning from female to male for the last 11 months now. So have yet to reach my yearly milestone. And I decided to kind of spin up a YouTube channel just mostly because when I first started to uh, navigate about transitioning and what it entailed, the things that people do, what the experiences were like. I got to the point where I felt like there just wasn't enough content out there. There was good, really good content. There's a lot, but I still feel like there's just so much in the trans community, especially with female to male, which is also known as FTM. There was still so much information that was not out there that I felt could have been really helpful. And I decided to go ahead and spin up the channel to do just that, provide things that I felt could have been very valuable to me and hope to inspire anyone else that's out there. So if you are watching, whoever you are, I see one audience and I'm curious to know if it's Alyssa. So I'm about to text her. That so happens that she put on her notification to check out my live session. I would call her and she would just say, no, it's not her on there. And then she would jump on and say, okay, yes, it's me. I don't know. But trying to engage with you guys as much as I can. Um, oops, clicking things here. So, like I said, I have zero expectations. I don't expect anyone will join. I kind of put this out there last minute, which was really late yesterday, that I'll be going live today. Where is Alyssa? Alyssa, where you at? Let me give her a quick call. See if it's her that's on here. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. What are you doing?
Getting coffee.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you saw the notification for the live stream.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. So it didn't work well. Okay.
But that could be my sin.
Maybe you don't have notifications on for YouTube. That could be it too. And all I know is I'm not going to use the damn laptop screen next time because this shit sucks. As far as the camera quality, sucks. Hmm. Nah, no coffee for me. All right. I'll see you after meetings. Bye. Okay. Um, Going back to the whole purpose of going live, why I want to go live. Like I was saying, right? When I transitioned, there's just so much information or so much questions that I had personally about transitioning, what it was like, trying to understand other people's experience. And for me, I felt there could be more. Um, so if you're out there and if you're considering transitioning or don't even really know if that's something for you, maybe you have um, a friend, a family who's transitioning. I want to invite everyone to be here so we can all talk to each other. Like I said, if you want to get to know me and the journey that I've made so far with transitioning from female to male, I'm happy to really answer whatever questions you guys have. If you have any questions. If you're just kind of curious about what it's been like for me to transition, again, please check out my channel. I'm happy to just share what I can to give you guys whatever insight that could be helpful for you, it could be helpful for somebody else. I don't know. It kind of the purpose of, I guess, going live and being out here is to figure out what those that are out there would like to see or would like to hear. Um, Perhaps people are struggling. I know I've joined a couple of sessions about, transgender 101, primarily for insurances because surgery is a big deal in the trans community. Not everyone does it, and I absolutely respect it. I'm not saying anyone out there who's transgender has to do surgeries. That's always completely optional, no matter what. But a lot of the times when people do transition, I have seen and heard that they tend to go through surgeries for gender affirmation care, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've gone through it myself. I've already had my top surgery. I am scheduled for bottom surgery later this year. I'm really excited about both of those things, and it was not easy and straightforward to say, calling up a doctor and say, "Hey, I want this surgery. Do you take my insurance?" Great, book me in, and I will be there next week. It is so much more than that. To get surgery, I mean, as a minor, it's definitely more, and I can't really speak to that because I'm not a minor, I'm already an adult. But as an adult, and if you're looking to do any kind of transition or gender information surgeries, it it does require some work. But don't let it discourage you if you are planning to transition, because really it's not that it's impossible. It may feel like it's impossible, that all you want to do is just be able to have your surgeries, but it's not impossible. I got through it. It was a hassle to get through it. There was so much that I learned along the way that I thought, damn, I wish I had a mentor. I wish I knew someone who was transitioning, who can help me better understand the path they went through and how I can move forward with my own transition. And it's difficult in a sense of everyone's path is going to be unique unless we're literally neighbors and we have the same insurance and we have the same, objective in life. Everyone's path is going to be unique, but there's certain information that we can that I know I can provide to help you um, be able to go through this transition journey. And especially when it comes to surgeries, like I said, I've had my top surgery, and along with my top surgery, I was also really dysphoric with, my bottom, or not bottom, I'm sorry, my torso area. I carried a lot of, fat in that area from before when I, had plenty of extra weight. And it was one of those where I thought to myself, I'll be really happy to have my top surgery. I'm excited for that to happen. But what about my stomach? What about my love handles, right? What about those things? Those are still gonna be there, and I don't want that to be another layer of me feeling so uncomfortable in my own skin. So I took the initiative to find a doctor who can perform my body masculization and my top surgery at the same time, which isn't as common. You can do it. It's absolutely something you can do, but it's not common. And to be honest, I did a lot of research on my own to figure out, is that even doable? Is that something doctors are willing to do? Can they do it? Is that too much at once? And no, you can do it. I think there's just a lot of misconceptions about what you can have done when you have certain surgeries. And if you're struggling to get consultations, it can take so much time to figure out this information. I mean, I called so many doctor's office to try to figure out, can I at least get some information about this procedure? What does it entail? What are you willing to do, able to do? And what procedure is right for me, right? Because there's so many different variations of the type of top surgeries there are. I mean, that's a whole big topic in itself, a huge one. And if you guys have specific questions about it, any concerns about it, I wanna hear your thoughts. I do, because, I've lived and breathed that struggle, and I'm hoping that with my experience that I've gone through, the things that I've learned along the way, that I can help you guys make decisions that align for what is best for you. I mean, mine was a little bit different in the sense that I traveled out of the country for my surgery. A lot of the times I have heard where people will just go through their insurance, because nowadays insurances do cover gender affirming care, and that includes top surgery. But the struggle, at least the struggle I faced, is here in the state of Colorado. I kind of thought perhaps this might be a state with advantages. We are kind of known for going through gender affirming care. but I was kind of wrong and ignorant to that assumption because I faced the struggle of even trying to get on the list for consultation with using my insurance. It was so frustrating. I have an insurance, and I remember giving them a call and say, "Hey, do you guys perform gender affirming? Like, do you cover gender affirming surgeries?" I got the yes, we do. You just need to go through the referral process. So I went to my primary doctor and said, "Hey, I want to have surgery." And my primary doctor was like, "Okay, I'll put in the referral." And I was on the referral and I waited, and I'm like, "I'm not getting any calls. It's already been a couple weeks. I'm not getting any calls. What's going on?" Only to find out that you need to call them and you have to call them every first of the month to try to get on the schedule for top surgery. It was so frustrating. It was so frustrating. In the state of Colorado with using my insurance, I was never able to get on the list for top surgery. And it was so disheartening to know that I only had once a month to have to call and say, "Can you get me on the schedule?" I was never able to reach them. So then I decided to look at practices privately, knowing that it wouldn't be covered through my insurance because I was just so dysphoric. I'm like, I really want to get this done. I don't want to have to wait any longer. I started my testosterone. I much rather not have to go through the experience of my voice getting really deep and so many changes are there, but yet I still have, my chest that's large and hasn't been dealt with. I didn't want to go through that personally, so I was really pushing hard and fast about how can I get through my neck surgery as quickly as possible. And there was no solution out here for me. There was none. These private insurance, or I'm sorry, these private practices that perform top surgery, unfortunately, they were so expensive that I thought, "No way am I going to drop, 30 to 40 grand to have top surgery." And another one, was in the about 12,500 range. That was a starting point. That didn't include the hospital, um, the equipment that they use in the hospital. That include the anesthesiologist, which is an easy, maybe an extra 4 grand right there. And I'm like, "Man, that would cost me probably about 20 grand if I add everything up." No way, that just sounds like way too much money, especially if I'm already paying for insurance. Um, so to that, I have a really good friend of mine who's from Mexico, and she kind of came up with the idea of, "Why don't you look at surgeons in Mexico? You know, is there anyone else out there? Let's all go. We'll all go. We'll make it a trip out of it." So I went to Mexico for my top surgery. But before I went to Mexico, I did have a phone consultation with the surgeon in Mexico. He's board certified. He actually works very, very closely with transgender patients. And you guys can check out his Instagram. I on my one of my videos I mentioned him, but he specializes with transition patients and performs surgeries for their top. And he does it for female to male and male to female. That already stood out to me. I saw his portfolio. It's very public. It's not something where I had to hassle and say, "Can you show me your portfolio?" It's all out there already. So it just made it that much easier and made me feel that much more confident that this is the right surgeon for me. Had the consult, told him, "This is my goal. This is what I would like. Is this something you can do?" He was so confident, far more confident than the consults that I had here on stateside. Because the ones in stateside did say, "We're not gonna be able to go and do everything that you want because you're gonna need to be able to recover, so mobility is gonna be too difficult for you." I really didn't wanna hear it. I mean, that's my stubborn side speaking to you, but I thought, "There's gotta be a way." I've read that there's a way, there's just gotta be a way. I think it's more finding the right doctor. So I found the right doctor. I was able to get on his books within 2 months' time. At that point, I was just a week shy of hitting 6 months of being on testosterone, which was perfect with the time frame he recommended to have top surgery done. So I went out there, had my top surgery. I stayed in Mexico for about 11 days total from the moment I arrived, from the moment I left. And I mean, traveling home was a freaking nightmare. I will be honest, it was a nightmare because we had like a 9 over layover. It was freaking terrible, just so uncomfortable and got swollen. But you wear a binder. You wear a binder anyways after top surgery, so that helped compress things. It was still uncomfortable. But anywho, I can talk on and on about my own experience about going through top surgery, and I had my hysterectomy recently, which was in December, so only a couple months ago. Not really difficult to go through that procedure at all, especially in comparison to what I went through. That was much faster recovery, very short surgery duration. My top surgery with body masculization took about a good 6 hours under the knife, where hysterectomy was like an hour and 20 minutes. So yeah, kind of night and day in those two situations. But I want to hear from you guys. I really do. I want as much engagement as possible. So if someone is out there, it looks like I have one person out there. If you're out there, I would love to hear from you. In the chat, you're welcome to put in the chat. I am so new to streaming, so please forgive me if maybe you did send a message and I'm not seeing it. Nah, I don't see anything. But again, I'm here to help provide any Q&A for anyone who's out there that would like to know about transitioning. Um, just going back for anyone who's new joining live, I'm Garen. I started transitioning from female to male about 11 months ago. I've gone through my top surgery, I've gone through my hysterectomy. Today, I actually have my appointment for electrolysis. And if you're not familiar with electrolysis, that's a simple, I guess, simple procedure because it's not going under anesthetics. But electrolysis is when you have to have your hair removed with using electric wave shocks. So they poke a little needle in every single hair follicle and pluck it right out. So that electrolysis is something that's needed if you're going to go through phalloplasty bottom surgery. So if you guys have questions about anything related to transitioning, whether that's hormone treatment, um, the changes that I've experienced, the surgeries that I've had, that I'm going to have later this year in the summer, I want to know what questions you guys have for me, how I can help provide information or context that would be useful for you. Um, one thing that I will be posting here recently, actually, I posted a new video just this morning, and that one talks about binding alternative. Um, Being transgender, I didn't formally transition, which what I mean by formally is taking testosterone. I did not start that until 11 months ago. And I was starting to get to the point where I started feeling even more dysphoric when I started taking testosterone because my voice was changing, my facial appearance was changing. I'm like, damn, this top surgery, I need it. I need it now. Thankfully, I got it right before I hit 6 months, and it was perfect timing because I was already growing facial hair. My voice was already changing. I mean, I was feeling pretty confused. I'm like, these gotta go. I do not want this, breasts anymore. They gotta go. And they were huge. So you guys can check out my new video after this. I'll stay on for about another 10 minutes. Um, but you guys can check out that new video and you'll see that, man, my chest size was just not small, not small at all. Thankfully, the top surgery was able to take care of that really well. And I never binded. I never did. I've always wanted to, but I never did because it was always just so uncomfortable wearing something that was super compressed, where they always advise be really cautious about wearing it for too long throughout the day. And I've wore my fair share of compressions. I have, especially when I've lost weight. I'm like, no, I need to wear compression. I'm going out to the gym. I want to sweat, right? I want to use even those, body bands. I've used that. I absolutely use it sometimes, even when I work out. Um, but I was really dysphoric, and I've gone through that. I'm still going through dysphoria with the bottom, but I'm really hoping that surgery date comes sooner than later. But you know, time is time. Can't really do anything but live through time. Um, Man, yeah, so much that I can talk about. There's even misconceptions about people that are trans and can have families. I mean, if you guys ever checked out any of my other videos, I have a family. I have my partner, been together for quite a while. We have our 2 kids. I never birthed, let me just be clear, I never birthed any of my children. I have never had the desire to, nor do I have the desire to. I never did, and that is just more my personal preference. I never wanted to. I remember people asking me before I transitioned, being in, same-sex couple, people would ask, "So are you next? Are you gonna give birth next? It's your turn," and I would just always say, "No, no, 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 no." Look at it as you're asking your husband or you're asking your boyfriend, whatever, that, they're have asking them to get pregnant. That's how you should see me. I do not wanna get pregnant. And I never wanted to. So, thankfully, that wasn't the case for my partner. We have our 2 kids. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible, right? We just because you're a transgender doesn't mean you can't live, a great fulfilling life. Before I transitioned, I was very happy in general and with my life. Not so much with my own self and my body and my image. I mean, I hated my voice. I hated it. But I never thought and never imagined that, hey, I can do something about this. I can start hormone treatment. I mean, it was to the point where I was so frustrated. Oh my, actually, when I started testosterone, the doctor that got me started in testosterone asked me the question, "So why do you want to start testosterone?" And I just remember telling her, "I'm so frustrated. I'm putting so much effort in the gym and my body just doesn't change the way I want it to change. I want, broader shoulders. I want to have more muscle mass. And I'm not getting that." And she was like, "Yeah, it's your estrogen. Estrogen stops that. Unless you're really dedicated and really, really like, taking supplements, estrogen's gonna do that to you. It's gonna hold you back." And I'm like, I'm sick of it. I never wanted to have like a feminine physique. And the other thing that stood out was my voice, right? I was like, I do not like my voice. It's too soft. I've always wanted it to be deeper. And, those were just the early signs that I've expressed. I just am unhappy with the way I was feeling for me, deep down, and starting the hormone treatment changed so much my life. It has done so much great things for my life. It really has. And sometimes I think about it even before I started, I would kind of see other folks talk about their transition journey and how well it's done for them, or even the opposite. And I had a family member who was basically talking to me and saying, "What if you regret it? What if you regret going through transitioning? And what if you have your top surgery, get your breast removed, and you regret it?" And I was like, "There's no way. I don't understand how I would ever regret making this decision because I already do not like what's happening now. I don't like my voice. I want that to change. I don't like having breast. I hate it." She would, say like, "Well, what's the big deal with having breast? I have them. 'Em, they're fine." And I'm like, "No, I don't like having breast." So it was one of those trying to explain to someone what I like and don't like, and this wasn't something new to me. I knew I did not like having breasts. I knew I did not want them there, and to pretty much be told by a family member, "You're okay, you'll be fine. You don't need to make any changes, just keep living the way you're living, I love you the way you are." And I'm like, "I understand that, I love me too, but this isn't how I wanna continue living my life. I don't." And I would even go as far as saying, I don't even like when people refer me to female or girl. I don't like when people are like she pronouns. And I'm like, I don't feel associated with women in that sense, in that regard. I'm like, I don't. I never felt comfortable going to the women's bathroom. Granted, the men's bathroom is fucking dirty. Sorry for my language. It is dirty, and I don't understand why it's so damn dirty. I guess that's the mystery that is still unsolved, in my opinion. But you know, I just I was always so dysphoric and so uncomfortable, and never really knew what that meant. And finally, just said to myself, like, "No, hell no. I don't want to continue to live my life with just of feeling like a Band-Aid and, already appearing so masculine and moving on. No, not for me. But, with a few minutes left, I will stay here, I guess, talk to myself. It's kind of boring. Honestly, I'm a little bored talking to myself. I I make these videos, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way for anyone else who creates content, but man, talking to the camera without an audience just feels sometimes a little bit strange. Um, Still something I'm very new to. Well, I like to think I'm very new to, maybe not as new as someone would think, but new enough to me. I enjoy, the process of it, but it's still new. And I'm hoping with larger audience, it would just feel that much more comfortable. All right, 4 minutes left. What to talk about? What video to do next? I mean, I have a lot of ideas. Actually, come to mind, I will do a video, and I haven't done it yet, but I will do a video about how to update your legal name, your gender marker, and all of that crazy stuff in between. I'm telling you, I've updated my passport, my birth certificate, my driver's license, every single bit of legal document, I've updated it, including with my banks, my lenders, my home loan, everything. It's a freaking nightmare. But I'm trying to figure out a good way to be able to give you guys that information and how I was able to organize all of that to help me update my legal name very efficiently because it's a dreaded process. It really is. And in this case, it's confusing when you're updating your name as transgender because when I'm on the phone, oh, I had this experience. I was on the phone trying to update something with my financial institute, only for them to flag me as fraud because they heard my voice deep and my name wasn't updated yet. So they were trying to assume like this should be a woman calling me, but instead they hear a man's voice. So my bank put a fraud alert on my account and froze my card. That day I was so annoyed. I'm like, "Come on, man. I'm just trying to update my damn information." And I went to the bank and I updated it and then I called. So I told them, I'm like, "I just left the bank about 20 minutes ago. My name, they said, is updated in the system, but they said I need a call to request for a new card. So all I'm trying to do is ask you guys to send me a new card." And they didn't believe me. They didn't believe I was the person I said I was because they were still seeing my old name before transitioning and thought I was just some froster trying to get a new card sent to my address. It was a crazy experience. Um, but those are things where, I wanna be able to put out another video, how to update all your legal name and stuff. So then that way, hopefully you guys can use this and know exactly where to start because it's not as simple as you call someone up and say, "Hey, I'm here to update my name and my gender marker." No, hell no, it's not that easy. To update your legal name, you're gonna have to go through a court order first. And a lot of people think that just because a court order is involved, that you have to have an attorney. You do not. You can update your legal name and gender marker without an attorney. You just have to be very proactive about going online, going through your county, pulling up the county court to do a change name change order. You fill out that change order, you take it to the county. Actually, you have to get it notarized. You can get it notarized by your bank, and a lot of times there's no extra cost for it if you're a member with the bank. After you get your name change order notarized, you take it to your county clerk, have them have them file it for you. The filing, they say, can take about a good month, but mine only took a week. It was so fast. And you get it in the mail with a stamp that they approved your court order change. Um, and so it's a whole process, and there's a lot on the county court with how to update your legal name. Um, and they provide you step-by-step information, but if no one's familiar to even go to county courts to start your legal name update and your gender marker, it can get confusing. Plus, they also don't always specify if you are transgender, follow this process. They don't do that. They don't have that. So, my plan is to create a next video or sometime down the line sooner than later on how to update your legal name, where to start, what to do, and how to track that. Um, because then it also involves getting your fingerprinting through the state and federal. You also have to put that as far as your filing before things get approved, right? There's a whole process. There's fees. It's not free. Even getting an updated driver's license, I had to pay for a new driver's license. Thankfully, that wasn't too expensive. But a passport, I had to pay for my passport to have my name updated, and it was the same price as getting a whole new passport. So there's a lot involved with updating your legal name and gender marker. Um, and you can kind of expect, sometimes some odd reactions. Went to the bank and I'm like, hey, I'm updating my name and gender marker. Here's my court order. And for the most part, I didn't have anyone disrespect me. Um, but I also don't allow people to really give me a reason to disrespect me. And what I mean by that is, I'm there with a purpose, I'm there with a goal. And I guess going in with like, hey, I know what business I'm here to do. Let's just update my name and gender marker. I'm going to move on. You'll probably never see me again, and we'll just be done. Um, yeah, and if you guys deal with ignorant folks, man, you're not alone. I've dealt with some ignorant folks. Thankfully, not as much as I think, you know, people say happens. I don't know. I haven't really experienced it, but I'm also not quiet. If someone's going to disrespect me in person, please believe I'm going to say something kindly, but I'm going to say something. Anyways, um, I'm at the 31-minute marker, so I'm gonna end here. But please leave me comments, questions, anything that's helpful for you guys, what you would like to see, if you like the live session or not. I'm going to continue to do it anyways, even if I don't have a lot of participants with coming to live sessions, because, I think it's important to be able to get the word out there. If you are going through transitioning, if you're considering it, if you feel like you're alone, you don't have anyone to talk to, or if you're doing this because you have a loved one who you feel can benefit from whatever information, whatever experience I've gone through, please send them this way. Um, we're not born with a checklist of what to do when you become transgender. It's just more of so like, hey, how can I go about my transition journey? And take it from there. All right. Thank you guys who ever joined, and I will talk to you guys and put out some new videos. See ya.